Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our 2017 HITEC Silicon Valley Leadership Summit Digital U session. Welcome to the stage, Selena Rivera.
Thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate having this opportunity to share one of my tremendous passions with you. So those of you who have been to the Digital U1 and Digital U2, we're now at the Digital U3, those that you have been to those sessions know that I get very passionate. I move around a lot. I want to help all of you. So I am going to deliver a presentation today that from Digital U2, basically, they asked a lot of questions and asked if we could cover some topics in Digital U3. So we're covering a couple more advanced topics in Digital U3, but we're also, for those of you who are new, because we have so many new faces to the HITEC Familia, which we love. Sandy, please. um, but for those of you who weren't in the Digital U1, we want to give you that basic as well too. So we've got 60 minutes to do all of this, so I'm going to keep moving. But if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them because this is about you. This is about promoting you. This is something that we all don't do as well. I said, I've been part of the HITEC Familia now for 5 years. And every time I come to an event, I meet fantastic people with great stories. They're doing amazing things. And then I say, well, let's go look at your LinkedIn profile. Well, no, I haven't been there in a while. I don't know my password. Right? So we get to that point, but eventually we get in there and they start to see how much control they really have over the digital you, over yourself. It's not something that you just leave out there and you're held hostage to Google and anyone else. No, you tell your story. And that's what this session is about today, is for you to tell your story. I don't know if anybody of you guys recognize this gentleman up here, Gary Vaynerchuk. I really like him a lot, right? Not just because he sells wine, but I just really like this guy a lot. But what I try really hard to do is make sure that each one of you in this room know by the end of the day today, or the end of our hour together, that it is your job to tell your story. Whatever story is out there about you, it's either kudos to you or your fault. And I'm going to tell you what happened to me at the very end of this presentation and why this became even more passionate. I thought, if this can happen to me, this can happen to anyone, right? And so I'm going to reveal something that happened to me in the digital space and how I overcame that. And people in the Digital U1 got to hear that story. I'm going to do a little condensed version of that story, but you'll get to see that. So that's why we're here. So our agenda. So we want to define, design, and deliver your brand online. This looks just like Digital U1, but it's an advanced version of that Digital U1. So if you've been in there and that looks familiar, please know that we're going to be covering some other topics as well. And then we're going to talk about how to use LinkedIn for immediate impact. You're going to really love this section because it gives you control over yourself. Like I said, when I meet all of you amazing people, when we go online, I say, do you have your A game? Your A game in person. Now we want to get your A game online. So let's do it. Ready to go? All right. First thing, your word is no longer enough. When we were growing up, our parents told us our word was everything, right? We had to protect it. At all cost, we had to protect our word, deliver on your word. I'm here to tell you that your word is no longer enough in the digital space. And you're going to hear what I mean by that. I'm going to tell you a story about a client. So I had this client, and they were older guys. They're in their 70s, and they're awesome guys, right? They're the kind of guys that you just want to hug all the time. They're ready to greet you, give you coffee, talk to you, look you in the eye. They retired, and they could have stayed retired. They sold their companies for millions. But they got back into the game after 9/11 because they said, we want to do something to help protect our country. And they were in the cybersecurity. So probably didn't think they were in their 70s in cybersecurity, right? So they got back into the game because they wanted to do something to protect their country. And they had the skill set to do that. So enter back in. And then now they have this mover and shaker guy that says, hey, I'm going to help sell your product. We all know those guys, right? The mover shaker guys. They move their hands a lot like this. Um, got some of them in the room right here. No, I'm just kidding. Richard Negron, I'm not pointing any fingers. I'm just kidding. um, no, but so this business development person said, I'm going to help sell your product. So he went and got someone to bring in, and Dr. Maxwell was her name. Very clean cut. She's been 40 years making her brand, right? So she's going to do everything to protect it, but she wants to bring cybersecurity, their product, to where she's working. So she says, I'll take a meeting with you, but I'm going to bring my cybersecurity guy too. And oh, by the way, he happens to be my nephew. So now nephew is going to really do a lot to protect her brand, right? Not only is she paying him, but he's also, that's his aunt. He's going to protect her. So in comes the meeting. They have this meeting. They fall in love with the product. Kyle says, this is a great product, aunt. They go back, and he gets back to his friends, right? He got some friends. He gets back to their friends and says, hey, I got this great product we're going to be pushing out there. And they say, what do you know about these people? What do you know about this Antonio? Well, my aunt says he's this and that. What do you know about him? Have you done any research on him about it online? They've written thousands of white papers. They can talk to you hours and hours and end on biometrics, cybersecurity, all of these things. They're fascinating people. But when they went to go find them online, do you think they found anything? Why not?
Didn't tell a story.
Because they didn't tell their story, right? They're a lot like my dad. You can't find me online, right? He thinks you can. And we all have those parents, right? That say, like, have you heard of Spokio, Dad? Right? But so this is really important to know because that deal fell through for them because the digital trust wasn't there. It's trust but verify. Think about it. When you meet someone now, they tell you who they are, from dating to business to everything in life. What's the first thing you do when you get home or away from them? Google them, right? Because we want to verify is what they're saying true. So that's what I'm here to tell you is that people are Googling you. They're doing the same thing that you're just telling me that you're going to do about everybody else that you meet. What are they going to find out there? Have you looked in a while? If you haven't, I don't blame you because it's difficult to keep up with your own brand, right? So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. All right, we're going to start with defining our brand. This is something that we covered extensively, but if you have a notepad, I really need you to bring that notepad out. You know, I am a businesswoman, but I'm also a mother, so I'm like, we're participating in here, right? This is not a session that you're just going to listen, because when you get back to your desk or get back home after this session, and then you say, what did she say? What was I supposed to do? What are the things that I needed to do? You'll have some notes, right? So please take some notes because I believe that this is going to change and impact not just your brand, but how people perceive you in business and online. All right, so defining your brand, I have it in the why, who, what, when, and where order. So the why, I imagine you're here today because you want to either protect your story that's out there. Maybe you've been out there and you've seen something and you don't know how to change it. Maybe you want to make sure that the information is accurate that's out there about you, right? That's something that we all should be doing, making sure that the story that's being told about us is in fact true. Maybe you want to find a new job. So maybe you're out there. They say that employers, if they're watching you on LinkedIn and watching your behavior, mostly, if they start to see engagement from your profile, they think you're about to change jobs. So there's that catch-22. there's that catch-22. But it's your responsibility to keep your story up to date, too. So if you're not leaving, it doesn't matter what the reasons are. Make sure that this is the why you're going to be out there. So the who are who are you planning to target out there? Is it staff? Is it other businesses? Are you planning to establish relationships with peers for a hobby? Think about those things before you go out there, because this is going to change the way you engage out there. So the what? What are you going to share? I have personal versus professional up there. How many people think that you should engage personal and professional in the same network? Raise your hand if you think that you should do both. Okay, whoa, I got a lot of minds to change here today. Okay, and I'm hoping to do that very thing today because I believe that you should have a little bit of both out there. And we talked about this in the Digital U1 where there was a woman who said, I'm a career woman, I do all these great things, but I also play an instrument. And should I create a whole nother profile for my musician life versus my professional life? And I said, how much time do you have? Really, I mean, Knowem.com, if you write this site down, KNOWEM.com, keeps track of all the social platforms that exist out in the web. And usually there's 500 plus at a time. What I like about Knowem.com as a side note is that it's separated by industries. So you're able to go look in the health sector to see what other social platforms beyond the basic Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn platforms are out there because your customers might be there. So it's a good place to go look, right? Okay. So anyway, so when we're talking about personal versus professional, I said it takes a long time to manage an account well. It takes a lot of investment of your time. So to go have two platforms out there, why? Does everyone in this room have a hobby, some type of hobby? Raise your hand. Now, I guess maybe I shouldn't ask what the hobbies are because I don't really want to expose you that way. But for those of us that have hobbies that are on the up and up, I'll just say, what's wrong with saying I play an instrument? What's wrong with saying I'm part of HITEC? What's wrong with that? That just makes you human, right? That's the human element of the digital you. It's not just all professional. Have you ever met someone that at an event like this or somewhere else, a networking event, all they want to do is talk business? It gets very tiring, right? And you don't really feel engaged or connected to that person. It takes personal conversation to get connected to people, right? So I believe that you should mix a little bit of both. The when is how often. Are you going to do it daily, weekly, monthly, yearly? Some of us, right, do that. We recommend at least try to do it monthly. If you can't get to it daily, it would be the most ideal. Where? Okay. I want to, by show of hands, I want you to tell me who's all on LinkedIn. Who all has a LinkedIn profile? Wow. Okay. How many people are on Facebook? Okay. Twitter? All right. Snapchat? One down. Instagram? Okay, goes back up. All right. So we could keep going with those, right? But I'm going to ask you this question right now. If you were going to target someone to do business in this room, would you go to Snapchat to do it? Where would you go? LinkedIn, right? Because that's where our network is. So wouldn't you want to make sure that your profile first is A game before you start inviting people out there, right? So that's what we want to make sure that we're doing today. This gentleman, I've only met once, but I wanted to bring you a real profile. When we talk about defining your brand, we've defined what we're going to do, but the definition also carries over to all of you as HITEC members. Here's a HITEC member, right? I went and I was just looking at profiles because I like to bring them up in presentations and talk about them, but what do you think about this profile?
Professional.
Professional, global, pretty good, right? I really like this because it tells me something that he's about. Ideas that change the world, right? He's not touting Hewlett Packard, but it says ideas who change the world. What do you think about his profile picture?
Engaged.
He looks engaged, right? Okay. And how did you get that sense? Why did you get that?
The way he's like leaning towards you versus like, here's my profile. And then his hands like kind of leaning towards.
Yeah, absolutely. Your profile picture matters. Please raise your hands. Don't be ashamed because we're going to help you today. Who doesn't have a LinkedIn profile picture? Who doesn't have LinkedIn profile? Okay, everybody has a... No, okay, here's the next question. Who has a LinkedIn profile picture by themselves and not halfway cut out with wife or husband because it was a good photo? Anybody have one of those cutouts? Okay, we're going to change those cutouts. All right, okay. The digital you is about you. Your wife, your husband, your kids, they all have their place, but it's not on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is about you and you doing business as a business person, right? That profile picture is very important. There's a photographer here today, right, that goes around. He would love for you to say, hey, could you take a picture of me? He's going to kill me or he's going to be, here's me. But A lot of the HITEC members have gotten really good photos for their profiles from HITEC events because they take really good photos here. So if you don't have a photo that you like, try to get into some good pictures or talk to the photographer. He loves taking pictures, right? That's his job. Another thing I want to talk to you about is a background photo. What do you think about his background photo? Is that distracting? No. It's complimentary, right? Have you seen some out there that are pretty distracting, that have a lot of colors maybe going on, and maybe clashing with what the person's wearing? Let's think about your profile. Would you have, how many people have a background image in theirs? Okay. And how many, so the other ones don't. I don't have one either. I don't have one because I don't like to have the distraction from my face. I want people focusing on my face, but that looked really nice. I liked the yellow. I liked how it coordinated. So if you can coordinate something like that nicely, do it. Make sure it's not too busy though and doesn't detract from you, right? So the background photo is important, but again, you don't want that detracting from your picture. I really like his first line. Can you read that first line? I help organizations leverage inclusion and diversity to win in the marketplace. It makes you want to keep reading, right? It's not the typical VP or CEO or, right? Being creative. I always say, bring something into your headline that's about you. It's not just for your job. It's also to say, maybe you're a serial entrepreneur, I've seen people put out there. Maybe you're an advocate for the Hispanic community or something like that. Put that type of information out there, and you'll see a difference in the types of people that you get to connect with you on your profile. He's got 500 plus connections. What do we know about that?
Network.
Very well connected, right? That's how we feel about him. We feel he's very well connected. So how many people actually know Brian Tippins? Yeah. Okay. So very few people know him, but all of you in here feel like this guy's pretty good, right? You want to do business with this guy. But imagine you've been looking at this picture, and I purposely kept you on this slide for a little bit because people who visit your profile spend at least 20% of the time on your profile just looking at your photo. And when they're looking at your photo, they're looking at it like as if they were looking at you in person. They're looking at you, and their heads are tilting, and they're looking like, she really, I don't know, right? If she's leaning too forward, she's too cute. If she's got the side going on, it's like, she's not that serious, right? Guys who got the chin up, it's like you're trying to be Scarface, right? Okay, right? But we all make perceptions. You summed me up in 6 seconds or less. You've decided whether you were going to listen to me, fall asleep, the lunch was so good, I'm going to take the snooze, check my email, or I'm really going to listen to her because maybe I've heard someone else say that she's an amazing presenter or something like that, I'm just saying. But no, 500 is a key number. If you don't have 500 connections, people will judge you on that as well. If you have less, even if it's 492, they're going to say, she's not that connected. It's something about that 500 plus that you need. So if you don't have that, get busy. Look at all the people in this room you can start connecting with, right? So we need to get busy on that. All right, moving on. Something that came up in the last Digital U was a question about who do I connect with? And Nelly Borrero, I don't think she's here today, but Nelly said to me, I really like to get back to everyone. And I'm starting to find it impossible. My inbox is starting to flood with people who want to connect with me. And I said, I hate to break it to you, but they really all don't want to connect with you because they like Nelly Borrero, right? They want to connect with her because of who she's connected to. So it's something you need to think about when you get these, when you're bored or you're waiting, at a doctor's office, whatever, and you just go to your phone and start accepting people. Think about that, right? Think about what is there, just like you would in person. When someone comes up to you and starts to talk to you and says, it starts asking you questions, you're thinking right away, what's this person's motive, right? Think about that the same way. When we're getting connections, when we're talking about designing your brand, decide how you're going to define who you're going to connect with and who you're not, based on what you said you're going to use the profile for. Okay? So now, I want you to just look up here for me, okay? Just humor me for a minute. We're going to go down to this right corner here. Would you connect with Sanvi Singh? Why not? Avatar, right? And the avatar looks a little creepy. Right? I'm not sure what's going on there, and I don't know if Sanvi is a male or female because it's a different culture, right? So Sanvi may not be, he could be an awesome or she could be an awesome person, but we don't know it because it's not lining up and our instincts, we're not trusting it, right? All this happens online. So I would hit not connect. What about with Henry? Why wouldn't we connect with Henry? No photo. We can't stare into his eyes and tell if this guy's the real deal, right or not. Okay? What about the guy down below, Joseph Sweet? Okay, but I heard some ehs. What does that mean?
I gotta look at his profile.
Look more into it. The sunset's nice, Joseph, but maybe we should leave that for Facebook or something, right? Because he's an equipment specialist, but I don't know. The sunset means to me, I will tell you, you need to be very careful with what you put in your profile because people will start to say, sunset, huh, she must like to vacation. She must not be that hard of a worker. She's not somebody I really want to hire. She's not somebody I really want to promote. All of these assumptions start to happen. Even though they tell us not to judge a book by its cover, all of you books have been judged all day today. I hate to tell it to you, right? All day long you've been judged, okay? So think about that, but also think about this number right here for some reason just, it breaks down people's barriers. Don't let it break down your barrier. Identify who they are and who they're connected with because maybe they're trying to connect with someone that you're connected with to get to someone else. So they're just using your profile to get to that person because they know that if I saw 13 mutual connections, I'm probably going to say yes. But I made it my personal, the way I defined and designed my brand. I don't connect with the women or men that do that, right? Because I feel like it's just not the type of person that I want in my network. It's my perception. It's my profile. I can do what I want to do, right? And I can connect with whoever I want to connect with. But something for you to think about when you're doing this. Now, when you're talking about how you're going to use your profile, I want you to think about this tip here, okay? This is Ruben Torres. He invited me to connect. I can connect with him. I can just hit the accept button and move on. He's got nice profile picture, background photo. He hits all the criteria that I need him to hit, right? Okay, and he's connected with people. He's active. If I'm going to connect with him, or maybe I said, you know what, Sandy, this would be a great connection for Sandy. Have you ever done that as a way to build business or build relationships? No? Wouldn't you like it if I were out there or someone's out there and said, hey, I know you're very interested, you know, being a CIO, you're very interested in these types of people. And I saw this profile out there. I think you should check this guy out or this woman out. All you have to do is hit on those three little dots right there and you can share it. You can share it via your instant messages. You can share it via email. What a way to use to network with your network, to touch people, right? 7 to 12 times to build an impression. You need those impressions, those continuous impressions, so they remember who you are and what you do and when they're supposed to call you, right? That's another way to build your business. So I accepted his connection. Should I stop there if I'm on my mobile phone? What do you think? You hit connect, accept. It says congratulations, then you move on. You look a little bit more? Okay. But also there's a little message button up there. On your mobile phones, which most of you are on, when you accept someone, it's nice to send a quick message to say, thank you for connecting, right? So resist just moving on from there. And if someone's taking their time to connect with you and you want to accept their connection, another way to build relationships, right? Now they start to think, hey, this guy is really up in his digital game. This guy pays attention to his LinkedIn, and he's personalizing messages, right? This guy must be pretty good, okay? So that's just a little note there to tell you when you're connecting to do that. When you're thinking about, after this class, how you're going to define and design your brand and what you're going to do, here's another tip I want to give you. I think this is something very important to add to your toolkit, if you will, of how you're going to manage your digital profile. And that is, if I'm going to invite someone to connect, and I'm on my mobile phone, How many of you know that you can send a personal message when you connect on your mobile phone? Do most of you know that? Can you raise your hand of those who do? Okay. So not everyone knows that. It's a key tool because most people know that on their desktop, they can send a message. But on their mobile phone, it doesn't look like you can unless you click on those three little dots, right? So when you're going to invite someone to connect, click on those three little dots and send them a personal message. That's what helps you to get connected to the people that you want to get connected with and helps you to build the type of relationship that you're looking to build. I'll give you another tip. When you're defining your brand, we're all very busy. You all have a little notes section in your phone. I keep canned messages, and don't be offended if you get one of my messages, okay? But I keep canned messages in there, right? Because I say, thank you for connecting, Jose. I want to learn more about mobile app development or looking forward to sharing interesting mobile app development tips and tricks if that's what my goal is in the digital space. Keep some canned messages in your notes so you can just take it over, right? So you don't have to worry about misspelling words, grammar, those types of things that impact your brand. When you get a message from someone and it's riddled with grammatical errors, right, and lack of punctuation, what do you think? Right? This guy's not detail-oriented. Another assumption. I've made the assumption that you're not detail-oriented just because you made a mistake in a message that you sent me. Not that I say he's grateful that he sent me a message, right?
Correct.
There you go. Autocorrect, sorry. Exactly. Exactly. When you're defining your brand and deciding what you're going to do out in that space, I want you to think about grammatical errors and what we just said. And we talked about when you go and put a post out there, when you go and share something, how many of you just share it without putting a little comment out there? You just share something without saying why you like it? You do. Okay. And most everyone in here did too. They just don't want to say it, right? But if you do that and you say, I forgot to put a little message out there because I need to tell my network why I like this. Richard Negron did a really good job of that when he posted something about Steve Jobs and about asking for help, right? He said, what was the message that you said on there? I forget, but it was about asking for help. And I thought, if this is important to him, I want to see what it is. That will help to build value and show me the type of information that you're sharing. So if you're sharing continuously information on mobile apps or cybersecurity or whatever your topic is, I'll then get to know who you are. In enough repetitions, I can say, hey, you need a CIO? I got someone for you. Even if I don't know her that well, she's been out there consistently, and I feel like Kathy Colson, I know her, right? I'm not trying to recruit you, by the way. But there's an edit button there. Those three little dots are your friend. Wherever you see those three dots, you can go edit a post. If you went out and posted it and forgot that you didn't put a message out there, make sure you put a post out there. Now, do those messages have to be long? No, right? Just a couple words and some punctuation. Great, nice job, things of that nature, right? So when you're thinking about defining your brand, I want you to take it up a level for those of you who've been in the class, the other two classes, and now start to think about what are going to be my standards? What are my protocols so that you do it each time, right? And so that you're consistent and that you're maximizing getting the value when you're building your digital profile. All right. And ask this question. How many of you read or scan a couple words of a post and then share it? No one else? Okay, so you're the lone wolf in here, right? No one else wants to take the fall. Right? I've done it too occasionally. I've forgotten, right? I've forgotten, so I get into some bad habits sometimes if I'm in a hurry. And I share something. And this is what happened to the colonel of the state police of Michigan, where I live. Does anybody know this story? Has everyone heard this story, right? So she saw a post that Trump put out there about something that was happening. She says she only read the first couple lines. She didn't even know who she was sharing it with or who was tagged in it. She just shared it. And big mistake for her. When you're defining and designing what that brand is going to look like for you, make it a point to say, I'm not going to share anything unless I've clicked on it and I've read it. because it could get you in trouble. You don't know what's in the bottom of that. The scroll down is what gets us every time, right? What's in there? What's being said? Who's being targeted? Even if it's a blog post, go down and look at the comments people are making. Is it positive and negative? Is it worth even merging into that traffic? If you're already out of that traffic and there's a lot of heat going on in there, right? Stay on the porch, right? There's that saying, if you can't take the heat, then stay out of the kitchen, I think it is. But don't let this happen to you. When you're thinking about defining your brand, think about what you're going to do. Who are you going to accept connections from? What are going to be your standards when it comes to grammar? What are going to be your standards when it comes to sharing content? You put your stamp on this, just like you put your stamp on a person. When you introduce them, you're putting your stamp on this magazine. You're putting your stamp on the person that's sharing it. Don't you want to make sure they're legit? Because it's going to reflect on you. All right. Designing your brand. There are 3 types of content. People always ask, I don't know what to put out in social media. I don't know what to say. What do people want to hear from me? These are 3 cardinal rules of digital media. If you ask yourself, does my post entertain someone? Does it educate someone? Or does it put someone else's name in lights? You're pretty safe. If you stay within that area, you're pretty safe with that. Entertaining content, right? Keep it within good range of entertainment. Educational, we all want that. How many people love to see statistics and share statistics and get good data, right? Because it helps us to be more informed and share when we come to conferences like this and things of that nature. Putting someone else's name in lights. I challenged people in the last class, and I'm going to challenge you in this class as well. There are a ton of people here, and they consider you familia. We all consider ourselves familia, right? Why not partner up with someone to help build each other's brand? Take a photo, tag some people in it. If you don't know who they are, it's a great way to say, hey, I want to tag you in this photo. Can you tell me what your handle is on LinkedIn? Or can you tell me how to find you on LinkedIn? And let's connect. Help each other in this network build your brands. Digitally, help tell your story, where you are. Who would be upset if someone said, I met this awesome person at the HITEC Silicon Valley event, and they're the best at this particular topic? Who would mind that? No one, right? There'd be pretty good PR there. Pretty good free PR. All right. I like this quote because it says, after all, we are nothing more or less than what we choose to reveal. The digital you is about you and your story. How are you going to tell it? What are going to be your standards? What are you going to choose to reveal about yourself? What do you want people to say when you're not in the room? Which is something that happened to me. So that's very important. When you're talking about designing your brand and defining your standards, I want you to tell me which person if you had to be one of these people, step into the body of one of these people, whose body would you step into? Whose body would you prefer to step into? Whose? Tell me. This one here? Or this one? Right, because she doesn't have that funny face, right? Well, I'm going to tell you who I'd rather be. I'd rather be this guy. You want to know why? Oh, maybe because the guys are like, hey, I'm surrounded by girls. I didn't mean it for those purposes. Back to the digital you. Back to the digital. Okay. The reason why I would rather be him, I don't want to make you terrified or scared or anything, but I want to be in control of the images that are taken of me. That's why I would like to be the guy holding the camera. Because then I'd say, oh no, I'll share it. Oh, I'll tag you. And then I'm going to go look at it and make sure I put the best one out there, the best filter, crop, all of those things that I need to do, right? That's part of the digital you, controlling your brand. I see so many people who just jump into photos, or when people are taking photos, they just kind of stand in the back and watch. And photobomb is cute unless you know who maybe that's a photobomber that's taking a picture, right? And then you're associated with that person. So think about who's taking your photo and how it's going to be used. And as much as you can, maintain control of that photo at all costs, right? Or send it to me, tag it to me. And there's nothing wrong with telling someone, that photo that you put up of me, I really don't like that photo. I know that you got 73,000 likes on it, but I'm going to have to ask you to take it down, for us to stay friends. Right? There's nothing wrong with that, because that person should understand that it's your brand. Katie, if you had a picture in with something with compromising behind you, that could hurt your career, right? So who wouldn't take that photo down? But in the first place, it is your responsibility. The digital you is your responsibility to say, no, I don't want to be in this photo. Or Andre says, no cameras after 10, right? Put the cameras away, no cameras after 10. So that we don't have to worry about any of that, right? But establish those rules. I know that rule because he says it, and I know why he says it, right? Okay. All right. When you're thinking about content to share, and I said be entertaining, be engaging, talk about something that you like to do, talk about your passion. Something very simple to talk about is your work. Now people say, I can't say what project I'm working on, who's my client, all these other things. No, you can't say that. But the Cisco team that I just met here, they were all very nice guys, right? And they took a group photo and said, hey, we're at this event learning about technology. And they tagged each other on that. They didn't give details about it. Maybe they didn't want to give details about it. It's still a good thing to say, hey, we're on this project together. We just wrapped up a project. You're still being vague, but people know you're moving and shaking. They know that things are happening in your life, right? And that you're doing things. So this is a type of content. Yes?
When does it become overexposure? Sometimes the people put out so much content about themselves and their family and their travel. I'm like, okay, I'm done. I don't have time to look through somebody else's life all the time and then feel bad about my own life. I'm like, okay. So
this is real conversation, though. This is great. I'm so glad that she's being honest.
it's too much.
Right.
People just don't let it rest.
Yeah. Yes.
What is that balance? And especially if I am in a situation that I definitely don't want my customers to see it. So why would we want to mix personal and our professional lives too? I mean, that's another question I am always don't understand how I can mix them together.
Well, let me take it in sections here. 2 questions. So the question about mixing personal and professional. Again, I still stand behind. If all I see is you business, 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 I don't really feel connected to you. But if every once in a while you share with me that you mentored a kid, or that you were at a STEM organization for children, or mathematics, or you were doing something to help your community, right? That makes me feel like he's a good guy. She's a good woman. And she's not just selfish, all in, and this is a digital you, yes, but you're not all about yourself, right? There's more to you. You're multifaceted. You're not that person. You're not just that business person. And it doesn't make people really want to connect with you and do business with you, right? So that can hurt you in that way. But your other question was about people who just bombard the channels, right? Everyone knows someone like this. But do you have to look at their content? No. Can you block their content? Yes. If it's that disruptive for you, block their content. They won't know that you did it. Right? So you can just block it out of your feed. But the other thing is that I gave you 3 rules. Can someone remember the 3 rules about content? If it follows 3 rules. Shine a light on someone. Who gets tired of that type of content? When someone is talking about someone else and what they're doing, if they're giving you good data and statistics that you can use in your business and your career, right? Who minds that type of content? It's the type of content that you're putting out that people get tired of. Like you said, making you feel bad about your own life. Like, I'm a workaholic and I see these people with their kids all the time. I didn't take my kids trick-or-treating. I didn't because it's here. But my parents did, so I put the photo up. No, it was a great picture of them. But I try to share a little bit of my personal as well, right? So you don't see that from me all the time. I'm sure in your LinkedIn or in social networks that you don't put personal content all the time, but it's nice to have just a little bit, right? Something else you can But I always say that selfies are a good thing for a particular persona, right? Filter yourselves, right? Selfies can be great thing, but not always the best content. Hey, if you got unless you've got good photos. When you're talking about designing and defining your brand, engagement is so important. A lot of times when the people that she's talking about, they're just pushing content out. It's like someone at the dinner table who's monopolizing the dinner table. Are they very fun to have dinner with? Nah, not so much, right? Because they're just monopolizing the conversation, and you're thinking, does this person ever shut up, right? Engagement is a back and forth. That's what engagement means. Digital engagement is the same thing. If I keep liking something and saying congratulations to you, but every time I put something out there, you never say congratulations to me, how many people have noticed that? Right? God, this person never says anything, but we're always supporting this person. It's very noticeable, just like it is in person, right? This is something to think about when you're engaging out there in the digital space. Like, comment, share. I don't think, please.
So, when you post something on LinkedIn and then you can track your metrics, right? Like
Yes.
you can see like how many times it's been viewed or shared or liked or what have you. Is there like a sweet spot number like we talked about the 500 plus on the profile, like that's like a number that people have judgment on. Is there some type of metric that is like a standard to reach, like on that, on sharing engagement?
There is a standard to reach. However, it's if you see that someone put something out there about themselves like, hey, I just got a promotion, I got a new job, and I'm doing well. Thank you to my friends and family for their support, and they get one like, what are you thinking? Maybe they're not liked as well as they think they are, right? So, but it's not necessarily your fault. It's about how much you engage, too. If you don't engage, people aren't going to engage when you do. But if you engage them, even if you only put something out every once in a while, they're going to go ahead and click like for you. Because it's fast and quick to do, but they're supporting you back because you continuously support them. So when you talk about is there a standard, is there a threshold, it really depends on your network and how much you engage. A couple of likes, that starts to make you seem like, okay, you're legitimate. One like probably to most of us feels like, nobody likes this guy. But you don't have to go delete all your posts that only have one like on them, okay? Don't do that. It's just that maybe it means it's an indicator for you that you need to go engage more, right? Have the two-way conversations. Use it as an engagement tool. This is just something we showed in Digital U1. This is kind of scary to a lot of people to look at. But when we talk about merging into the Digital U lanes, okay, we talk about joining conversations that are already happening. So if you don't know what to put out there, join things that are already happening. Maybe for Monday, does anybody know what a common hashtag is for Monday?
Monday motivation.
Motivation Monday, right? Okay, what about Thursday? Throwback Thursday, right? So we know those. So you can merge into conversations that already exist out there. You don't have to start new ones. If you're just getting out there, join networks, join the conversations that are already happening. Right? And then you won't feel like you're so out there thinking, is this acceptable content or not? No, everyone's doing it, so it's okay, right, to put that type of content out there. Then what I challenge you to do is if you can at least get once a week where you're posting something of your own, then the other weeks you can just like, comment, and share on something. That will keep your activity going so that when I go to your page and I go to look at your activity and I see nothing on there, what do I think about you? If I'm trying to connect with you to do business with you and I look at your activity and I see there's no activity,
Not engaged.
I'm saying this is not a very good channel to try to connect with this person. And I may not try to reach you back there because I'm thinking, well, they're not on LinkedIn. Let me go try to find them somewhere else, right? But maybe you are there. So if you are there, engage, like, comment, share so people know the lights are on and somebody is home, right, at the same time. Okay? I want you to do an exercise. I know we have about 16 minutes left, but this is really important, what comes out of this exercise. I want you to work with a neighbor next to you. I want you to think about your passion that we talked about, personal or professional. And I want you just to write one post that you would put out, learning what you know, what you've learned today, Ask your neighbor what they think about it. We're going to take 3 minutes to do this. I know this is a superpower post, but it's an important exercise because it gets you thinking about the types of things that you would post if you haven't already, or starts to think about applying the key principles that you're learning today. Okay? And then ask your neighbor what you think. So let's take 3 minutes to do that, please. And it's not something that is posted by a magazine that has. No. Oh, that one. Oh, I get it. So I would either, what you could do there is put like a hashtag like karate or a hashtag martial arts, or that helps it stand out and know that that's part of your.
I also find
Because if you work with
Okay. How do we do? All right, we're going to reel it back in. Everyone? May I have your attention, please? Now I would like a brave soul or three to tell us what they were thinking about posting. Anyone, please. Yes, Caddy.
Post that I made recently about my passion for martial arts.
Uh-huh.
And I finished my recent test, and I was so excited, and I posted that I'm almost a black belt.
Nice. Congratulations. Absolutely. Now, that post that she said that she put out about her passion for karate, if she put out something, she's almost a black belt. She thinks that's one post and that's it. In my mind, that's like a whole year's of content, right? You know why I say that? is because now, if she's on LinkedIn, she can tell us about how many businesses offer karate to their employees and how it impacts their mental capacity or their ability to focus or things of that nature. She can talk about how karate, the history of karate, and educating us to let us know that here's how karate started, right? And here's what it means to be a black belt. There's plenty of quotes out there with Bruce Lee, by the way. I love them, right? She could put those out there. So she could start to put things out there that let you know that, hey, don't mess with, hashtag don't mess with kid, right? Right? A dynamo. But so that's what I wanted to get you to see. Can I get one more person, one or two more people to tell me what they were going to post? Sure.
It's interesting. I was doing this with my son. It's called Lego Education, Lego Robotics.
Yes.
I was more interested than him. I'm an engineer by nature, and so I thought about posting, telling people about it, how awesome it is.
Yeah.
You can build your own remote control car yourself. It's like a robot. You can program, you can learn coding and software. It's what we need today. So I think that's so cool for young kids, teenagers, and they have from the beginning.
And that's 2 years of content right there. Did you hear all that? I could manage him for 2 years. That would be fantastic. Because there are other people who are interested in things of that nature and knowing there's some cool ideas. I would even tie it to business and say maybe find some businesses that tell stories about how they prototype from Legos or things of that nature. So tie it to business. You can tie almost anything to business, right? One more person. Yes.
Posting, because I want to learn about one topic, a specific topic, post the question, but providing an answer to my question as well, and asking people to add to that answer.
Absolutely.
Kind of broadcasting what I think, but also getting asking for input.
Absolutely. And those are a little tougher just to start off with, unless you have engaged with a lot of people, then they'll engage with you back. But if you just go out and start that way, it's a little harder to get going that way. But I like that. If you've got some really good questions, those work really well. Get people thinking. And it's usually if you follow those 3 rules and say, what do you know about this topic? Right? Who do you know is someone you'd like to give a shout out to who is an incredible XYZ person, cybersecurity, passwords, whatever that may be. So that's another way to do it. So if you follow those 3 rules, you should be pretty safe there. All right, growing your brand. This is something that one of the attendees asked me to talk about in this class. And so I wanted to give you some ideas. Now that you're starting to think about how you're going to post, what you're going to post, what the rules of engagement are going to be, now how do you grow the brand? People will say, I don't know, I don't really have opportunities to tell my story. You absolutely do. And I challenged the last group. I said, HITEC has a program that brings success stories. They want to tell your success story. We put a post out there recently about Cami Casal from SoftTech, right? An award that she received. Pablo Molina, we put things out there about him. If you have a story, this network is for you. All you have to do is take the step to click on that and go fill out your story. It'll be reviewed by the HITEC committee and will be published. Great way to put your name in lights to get your story out there, what your company's doing. We put company posts out there all the time. And if it's a KPMG post, if you're part of KPMG or if they're part of your target market, your customer, wouldn't it be great to always go out there and say, nice job, KPMG, way to go, way to be part of the HITEC familia. They start to see your photo. Engage there, right? You've got a place to tell your story. Use it. Okay? How many people saw this post go out? Okay? So those of you that saw this post go out, how many of you reacted to it? Did you like it? Comment on it? Commented? Okay. This is a great place to get your name out there. Why? You can go comment about one of these people in here. Looking forward to hearing Dr. Yonesi speak. On LinkedIn, what's the beautiful thing? You can tag him. I could tag all of those people in a comment if I wanted to. And guess what? They get notified that you tagged them and thought about them. and said, I'm looking forward to hearing you speak. I'm looking forward to seeing you at the HITEC event, right? Re-engage. We're here for business, right? The HITEC familia, yes, we're nice, right? It's good. But we're here for business. We're here for a purpose. We're here to learn. This is a way to tell your story. Get out there who you are. Make those connections, utilizing the platforms that you're already part of. You don't even have to merge into this lane. You're already part of it. Hashtags are your friend. They really are. People, on LinkedIn, they'll say, oh, but it's not part of the LinkedIn community. Yes, it's not part of the LinkedIn community, but doesn't it catch your eye when people use a hashtag? It does. That's what I was telling Caddy. She can put out there, something about karate. I love karate. She doesn't have to say, it's almost like Caddy speaking in third person, right? When she puts hashtag Caddy likes karate, right? It's kind of cute. It's kind of fun, right? But it lets you know that she's talking about karate without her specifically saying it out there. So use hashtags. The things that we're talking about today can be applied to any platform that you're working on. It's about the digital you, your brand, and defining what your rules of engagement are and what type of content you're going to put out there. I got 23 seconds left. Okay. So we'll wrap up with this here, and I'll tell you about Boolean searches. Some people call them Boolean, some people call them Boolean, whatever you call them. You're able to do those on LinkedIn. You start with the ors and ands. If you're trying to find someone, a particular group or target market on LinkedIn, start using your Boolean searches. You can use your pluses. You can use your parentheses. That will help you narrow down the people that you're looking for and the people that you're not. Okay? So I put the not IT there. So you put what you're looking for first, all uppercase letters, not, or and then what you are looking for or not looking for. Google or Salesforce, not LinkedIn, right? Cybersecurity or cybersecurity, because some people separate it into two words, some people keep it into one. So using those are a great way for you to find the people that you're looking for. Knowing what's out there about you. I want to just tell you this here really quick. I was not in the room when a client of mine was telling someone about our executive management services of digital media. Then he calls me up and says, what are you doing? You're not managing your brand out there. I went to go show your profile. They wanted to look at you. What are you doing? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I go out there. I'm like, that does look like me a little bit. Maybe, but it's not. I'm like, hey, that's not me. And then I have to get this picture off of my LinkedIn, right? Because Selena Rivera belongs to me. I wanted to do that. So that's not me, by the way. But I went and I looked further into her and I found out who she was. And I was glad that this was the photo that made it up and not the other photos that made it up. That's for sure. But I want to show you that when you write things out on LinkedIn, or if HITEC is posting things on LinkedIn, this affects your digital brand, right? So if you give HITEC stories to tell, your digital brand gets impacted. If you put articles out on LinkedIn, if you write articles out there, you can go see where they're coming from. They're coming from LinkedIn, right? SEO, it's in the palm of your hands right there. So all of these where you see LinkedIn came from articles on LinkedIn. I wanted to show you today that I've been able to take over a little bit more of my profile by just posting to LinkedIn. And it's happened rather quickly. As you can see, I'm getting those photos of those people put down, but I also have defined myself as Selena Rivera Mian Media. Okay? Measuring your success out there. Again, Richard asked me a question, and there was a couple other people that asked me this question about how you measure your success. Look to see how many people are engaging with the type of content you're putting out there. Look at your metrics. If people are liking content, and if it's a topic that you're passionate about, but people aren't liking it, but you're doing something else and people are liking it, do more of what works and less of what doesn't. Thank you.